Sometimes we have to watch what we say on social media or on TV shows because we never know how the other person may take it. On March 6, 1995, three friends were invited onto the Jenny Jones show, which was a talk show that aired from 1991 to 2003. The main person that was invited on the show was 24-year-old Johnathan Schmitz, who was told by producers that he had somebody that had a crush on him and they wanted to come to the show to reveal it to him. So they were flown to Chicago to be on the show, and when they got there, they had Smiths go into the back and put some headphones on while they go ahead and talk to the person that had a crush on him. So while Scott's in the back, not able to hear anything that's going on, Jenny Jones went ahead and interviewed his two friends to try to figure out who his crush was, where it was revealed it was actually Scott Amedure, who actually had a crush on Scott. Some of the questions that the host was asking him was about his feelings for Johnathan, as well as what kind of fantasies he had about him. Once they got all their questions out the way, they went ahead and asked Johnathan to come out on stage so that way they can reveal who his crush was. And when he walked out, he saw his two friends sitting there, and he was a little confused trying to figure out what was actually going on. Once Johnathan was able to sit down and get his composure, that's when Jenny had revealed to him that the person who had a crush on him was a man sitting next to him who was Scott. So upon hearing that his friend Scott had a crush on him, Johnathan was a little embarrassed by it, and so he tried to laugh it off and play it off like everything was alright, thinking that it couldn't get any worse, but it did, because what they ended up doing was they played back the questioning that they gave Scott by showing how he felt about him, as well as what his fantasies were. So Scott became even more embarrassed because this is now nationwide where everybody's seeing this. And so Jenny went ahead and asked him, like, "Are you available?" Where he responded with, "I'm available, but I'm straight." And so Johnathan went ahead and told Scott that he was flattered that he had a crush on him, and he came out about it, but he also wanted to say that he was not interested either. So when the show was over with, all three of them took a flight back to their hometown of Lake Orion, Michigan, which is 30 miles north of Detroit. During an interview that Johnathan had gave, he had recounted his events that happened after the show, where he said when he returned home, he was still embarrassed about what happened and it was eating away at him, and so he tried to push it off to the side until one day he came home to his apartment where he found a letter attached to his door. When he read it, he realized it was an X-rated letter that was written to him, and so the first thing that popped in his mind was that Scott had wrote the letter. With him believing that Scott was the one that wrote the letter, he went ahead and snapped, thinking that I was just embarrassed on national TV with what you just did, and now you write me a love letter too. And so after that, he went to the gun store, bought a shotgun, bought some ammunition, and drove over to Scott's house. So upon arriving at Scott's house, he noticed that he was home, so he went ahead and loaded the shotgun, walked up to his front door, knocked on it, and when Scott came to the front door to answer it, he shot him twice in the chest, point blank range. After shooting Scott twice in the chest with a shotgun, Johnathan went ahead and dialed 911 and had confessed to them what he had did. Police arrived shortly afterwards and arrested Johnathan and sent him to jail. During his trial, his defense team tried to say that it was entirely Jonathan's fault and the blame should be on the Jenny Jones show because of the fact that they had ambushed him by making him believe that it was a woman that actually had a crush on him and not revealing to him it was a man. But the show had said that it was not their fault and that they told him that it could be either a man or a woman that could have a crush on him. So in 1996, exactly 1 year after the incident, Johnathan was convicted of second-degree murder where he was to serve 25 to 50 years in prison, but his conviction was overturned by appeal. But in 1999, the prosecutor had charged him again where he was found guilty once again. Shortly after Johnathan was convicted, Scott's family had filed a civil suit against the show's producers and owners, where the jury had awarded them $25 million. In 2017, Johnathan Schmitz was released from prison after doing only 22 years, which was less than the minimum that was required, all due to his credit of having good behavior.